So it's great to speak today with Jos Ruiterman at Megmeister. Jos, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. It's been weird times, of course. We're all at home in the lockdown, um, but we're feeling quite excited today because today is a special day for Megmeister. We're about to receive the sort of ISPO Award, the Gold Award at ISPO. I don't know how that is going to go, but it's nevertheless exciting to be part of.
Yeah. So this must be your first award, yeah? Your first ISPO award.
It's also the first entry, so it's
Right. Wow.
so it's first
Wow.
time. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, congratulations. That's
Well,
great news.
thank
So
yeah.
it was a gold award, I'm guessing, in the sustainability category.
Yeah, it was in a conjunction with Adidas. Adidas approached us for a collaboration,
Yep.
and it was actually um, the Gold Award is for the product, for the performance of the product, but also the sustainability aspect of the garment. It's a garment that we put together with some yarn experts, with the help from Adidas, in order to create something that would not contribute to landfill, which is something we're very passionate about.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we'll definitely go into that and your fabric a little bit later. So, but maybe could you start by giving us a bit of a background about you and how Megmeister came about?
Yeah, well, I've been working in the textile industry basically all my life, and before I started Megmeister, I started about 5 years ago. I was working for a large manufacturer in the Far East with offices in the UK. And for these guys, I did product development with big brands. And I work with the big sports brands. And these guys, the guys I work for, were interested in producing garments in volume. Hence, I was talking to the big sports brands and having to come up with new ideas in order to fill production. And it struck me that there was so much scope and opportunity for product improvement. And I was at the time talking to Under Armour. I looked at their base layers. We produced a lot of those kind of garments anyway. And I wasn't impressed with what the garment did, how it felt. I asked my friends who were playing sports, "What do you think? Why do you wear it?" And they all said, "Well, it's the cool thing. It has that logo now," sort of thing. But as when you actually asked, "Do you like it?" No, they didn't. Was it too hot? Yes, it was. Did it smell? Yes, it did. So it wasn't actually a great garment, but yet marketing played its trick. And I thought, I'm going to make a much better product. I can do much better than that. And I started to investigate that. And the more I did the research initially to do it for the company I was employed for, I thought I always wanted to work for myself. I thought, you know what, this is a great idea. I'm not getting any younger. If I'm going to jump, let's jump with this idea. So that's what I did. I asked the manufacturer in Italy to help me and would they support me, because obviously when you work for a big company, everybody sort of wants to support you. When you go on your own, the door closes because the quantities are no longer there. But the guys were very committed and said yes, they would. And so I set up Megmeister, and the idea behind it was simple. I was going to produce the best garments. I was not being restrained by margins or anything like that. I was going to do what I felt was right and what I felt was the best. And, people, when you start a business, I wanted to give the people who would buy my product a feel for who we were in the brand name. And most people, when they start a brand, they have an enthusiasm for a sport. They come up with a funny name, a funny logo, and market the hell out of it. But I came from a point of experience. You see, I knew I knew how to make things better. So I wanted to reflect that in the name. So hence the name Meister, which is German for master, craftsman. Yep. So it's someone who knows what he's doing. But I also wanted to be the best. And I was doing only sportswear. I'm not doing fashion or anything like that. And I thought, what shows a consumer that you're the best in something? In sport, what is this? And the only thing I could come up with was in football. If you play the ball between someone's legs, which is called a nutmeg, you know, you show them who's boss, don't you? You might be not on the winning team, but if you nutmeg someone, you still show your opponent who's boss. And I like that aspect, and it makes people smile. So hence the Meg from Megmeister.
So did you start with Megmeister and then cut it down to?
Yeah, Megmeister is bad, but the Meg comes from nutmeg, and the English call it, when they do it, they call it Max anyway, don't they? So I thought that rolls off the tongue a lot easier. And it's unusual, and I think that's the sort of aspect of Megmeister. You can do it, you can follow your instincts. You're not being restricted by, people said to me, "Oh, it sounds very German. It's a long name and all that sort of thing." And I didn't care. We just went with it.
Well, so, I think it's a bit like the Beatles, isn't it? No one really thinks about the name of the brand of the Beatles after a while. It just sinks in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You think about the Beatles, the way it's spelt, it's kind of a bit of a cheesy
yeah.
name. You sort of forget about that, and I think that, as you say, then it's all about what you produce and how much it resonates, and how much people then think less about the name, and it just becomes associated with what you do. So to kind of look into that, because you mentioned sustainability, you've had this ISPO award, and you've clearly been innovating with the fabric in particular. I think that's really interesting to understand the unique properties. So that you have it's Dynamo, is that correct? That's one of the underlying fabrics that you develop. Maybe talk a bit through.
Yeah, I mean, we are innovators. So we never look at a garment and say, "Oh, let's make a version of." We like to improve things and make them better. So we really analyze performance of garments. And with the base layer, what we did with Dynamo, we wanted to cut the waste in the manufacturing process. So the way we make this on the machines, there is no waste. Right? We're not cutting up fabric and discard the bits that are left over. I wanted to make a garment that I wanted, as I said, the best in terms of performance, in terms of comfort. I wanted to eliminate all the aspects that my friends told me that they didn't like about base layers. Oh, it's too tight. It's too hot. It starts to smell after a few times wearing. It's not very comfortable. So I went down the path working with this Italian manufacturer to recreate something that is completely seamless. Now, there's a lot of garments on the market that are called seamless, and they're full of stitches. Ours are truly seamless. So we wanted to be the best thing. So it creates comfort. The whole piece is made out of one piece. The whole garment, which creates a lot of freedom of movement. We made sure that in terms for a garment in high intensity, a garment needs to wick really well. Now, there's a lot of base layers on the market made of lycra and polyester, and basically what these shirts do is they become wet, but they dry fast. But if you compare it to a cotton t-shirt, any polyester t-shirt will dry fast. And that's what the sports brands have been marketing. But does it actually wick and keep you dry? No. So we wanted to create a garment our garment is made of two little layers put together. You can't separate them. But the composition on the inside and on the outside of the garment is completely different. So that there is a transition. So sweat gets pushed to the outside of the garment, and that's where it evaporates. But the inside stays dry. So that's very important to avoid you getting cold if you stand still during sport. We didn't want it to become smelly, as we said. So we have a yarn property in there, not in the finish, because that's normally chemically enhanced, and we don't want to do that. But it's actually the yarn doesn't sort of trap bacteria. That's why it doesn't smell. So all these, and then we sort of created. On the body mapping, we look at your body. Where does a good ventilation is extremely important. So we mapped the ventilation places, and we create a base layer exactly how we want it. We're not restricted by a piece of fabric that we have to cut around. We do it exactly how we want it to be, and that's how the Dynamo technology came about, and which is what Adidas ultimately picked up and asked to. Could we help them do the same for them, which we did.
Great. No, very cool. And in terms of the actual yarn itself, what materials are you? Is there a wool element in there? What sort of yarn?
In particular, base layer, the first base layers we did are made of a yarn that is recycled. but dries very quickly, hollow, just very light. So we really researched the yarns to put in. The garments that we created with Adidas together, the new one that ISPO is awarding the gold prize for, that is a base layer for outdoor, and that has also wool in it. And what we did when Adidas approached us for the collaboration, initially I was very skeptical, to tell you the truth. I thought, such a big brand and we're so small, I couldn't see it. And I expressed my concern that I was worried they would just take my ideas and run with it. I thought I might as well tell them how my concerns, and then we can talk about it. But Adidas understood that I was concerned, and they addressed those points very nicely, to tell you the truth, and put my mind at ease that they were sincere in their partnership. And when they then sort of said, do we want to make base layers for them? I said to them, well, hang on, if you want me to do something for you, I want something from you too. And they said, what's that? And I said, well, I want to make uber green base layers. And they said, uber green, what are we talking about? I said, well, I just want to raise the bar in the whole industry for a base layer that is biodegradable, so that we don't add any more to landfill. And that idea I had for a couple of years. I'm very green, my heart is very green. But as a small business, it's very difficult sometimes to do what's right, because the production quantities are so small that a lot of manufacturers, they are not interested in helping you with sustainable yarns and that sort of thing. But with Adidas, we obviously could offer a bit of scale, and all of a sudden it opens doors to possibilities that I on my own could not have realized. And Adidas was very into the green as well. They have a very green agenda themselves. And the fact that they work with someone who wanted to go uber green was something that, I mean, maybe slightly arrogant telling a company that big what to do, but they were very helpful in putting experts together to research yarn, to get information on what makes a garment biodegradable. So the partnership was fantastic. It worked really well. We created a garment that we were very proud of. And obviously, it was Adidas' idea to put it to ISPO. And we weren't actually exposing it at ISPO. So winning a gold award at ISPO, but not even being having a stand there, is special, I suppose.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a testament to the product, isn't it? And I think, as you say, going that bit further with what you aspire to, because the landfill issue with all clothing is such a massive one.
Yeah.
So how long roughly would it take the product to biodegrade once it gets to end?
I've actually, the first garment I had a couple made by the factory, and the first one we buried in our garden.
Oh, right. Test as any.
Well, the thing is, we wanted to test it as well, so I haven't dug it up as yet. But I think it's a couple of years before the whole garment is disintegrated. Obviously, the wool and the lycra, what we did, the wool is a biodegradable yarn anyway. We reinforced the garment with nylon and lycra, also because it's a performance garment, so it needs to tick those boxes as well. It's not just sustainability. So we created the nylon element of this garment is completely biodegradable and made from regenerated yarn, which is great. So we clean up the mess, and then it's completely biodegradable. And with the lycra, because we found regenerated lycra, it's not completely biodegradable. So we have 4% of the garment. A little bit of the lycra will ultimately be left, but that's a tiny percentage. And if everybody was making garments like this, we really solved the landfill problem worldwide.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that, I mean, as you say, that 4% is one, I suppose, what it will, be less than that, and as you said, it's obviously something.
And it is called regenerated yarn, so it's not actually virgin material going in. So
Yeah.
we are cleaning up a bit of the mess to make something else out of it. So it's sort of, it's the best we could do at the moment to make it completely biodegradable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, well done, and congratulations again on the ISPO Gold Award. We might have to hurry up because you probably have to accept your award. Do you have to do?
No, it's 2:00, I think, to 2:30 or something. It's
okay, got a bit of time. So often at this point, towards the end of our interviews, we sort of ask people about future challenges or opportunities for the industry. I think that it'd be really good to get your views specifically on sustainability and the role of sustainability. And I think it's, as you've outlined, it is so important for the industry, from events through to apparel and so on. How, in your experience, how can the industry and all of us as consumers make a step change and do our bit to keep this planet ticking along?
I think that's a very good question, because I think obviously the industry is well aware that we all together we need to do something. And we are a small company, and I'm under no illusion that no matter we won the award, but we're not going to change the world in terms of sustainability with the impact we have. That's why it's nice that we have a big guy like Adidas on board, because they have the opportunity to change it a little bit, have a little bit more impact. But ultimately, it is the consumer that should vote, and they should vote with their feet. They should check a garment: is it sustainable or not? And stop buying the stuff that adds to landfill. Like I've got quite a bee in my bonnet, as you know, on jerseys for cycling. They are all printed polyester. I can't stand it. And I think that people who love nature, no, but if you enjoy cycling to the nature, how can you, on the other hand, contribute to the pollution and the destruction of it? I know it's not a direct correlation. It happens later, but it happens nevertheless. And I think cyclists should stop buying and cycle around with the name of the local butcher on there. I think that's all printed polyester. And I say stop it. And as you know, we came out initially with jerseys that we did it. We've created woven jerseys, and we created the fabric ourselves. We use regenerated yarn. The whole woven process used less water, so it's less energy. It was a completely environmentally friendly step in the right direction compared to printed polyester. And our first jerseys, much as they were sort of almost artisan, were a bit heavy. It was our first attempt, but we have this year gone back to the drawing board. We create new jerseys. We made them just with a simple color, no frills, a beautiful quality. And I hope that the cyclists will look at it, realize the message about the environment, and vote with their feet. I think it's very important.
No, well, absolutely, and I wish you all the very best. It's been fascinating to hear your story, hear the journey. Great that you've scooped this award. Fairly early on, and you've obviously scooped a really important partnership with Adidas, which would be interesting to see how that develops. So please keep us posted, and I think there's exciting things coming.
We have interesting developments all the time. Like we're launching next year as well, if I may plug it here. We have developed a new bib short. We looked at the bib shorts. Team Sky sort of, I know Servis Knaven, and 2 years ago he sort of asked me if we were doing anything with that, and I was very keen to solve the problem of breathability of the garment, but also the damping qualities of a garment or bib short. And we've done a lot of research, we pressure mapped it. So we didn't want data. We don't need a sort of well-known cyclist to promote our brand. We thought we go away from the marketing. We just have the data. So we tested all the top brands in bib shorts, and we then ultimately tested our invention, our Megmeister bib short, against them. And the results are very exciting. Let's put it that way. And it's interesting. It's an interesting development that's coming out this year. in a couple of months, it's going to hit the market, and it's definitely a new technology. And I know your viewers are also very much the runners of the world, aren't they? And we also last year we developed a shirt that I just want to let them know so they understand. But we made we created a fabric with a Japanese company that actually has an enormous cooling effect in hot weather. And it's proven in hot weather to bring down the body temperature 1.5 to 2%. Now, if you do a triathlon in a hot country, this will make the difference. I had an expert in cooling, Dr. IJsvogel. He's a Dutch cardiologist. He's an expert in cooling for top sport. He shared a lot of his studies with me to help me make the argument. And he said as well, because we wanted to launch for the Olympics in Japan, we had a few athletes actually wanting to wear our gear. And obviously in Japan, it's hot and humid. And this guy said to me as well, he says, the guys that will win in Japan are not the guys that may be the fittest. It's the guy, because everybody's pretty fit when they go to compete at the Olympics. He says, but the people that can cool themselves the best have the best chance of winning. So
the cool guys always win, don't they, at the end of the day?
Yeah, and so those are the sort of things that we have in our range. It's all sort of cool stuff. I thought I'll share it with you so at least people have an understanding of it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as you say, you're not standing still, and that's the important thing. Keep innovating and keep going ahead. And it's been great having you on. Really enjoyed, listen to your story, and look forward to hearing future stories coming forward. So thanks again. Take care of yourself. Stay safe, and speak to you soon.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Cheers, Jos. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.